In this video, we will be taking a look at one of the worst videos I've ever seen revolving around classic Doom. And no, it's not for the reasons you may think. Usually, you'd think when I say this that I'm talking about the arguments presented in the video itself. And that is partially the case here, but would you believe me if I told you that one of the main reasons is this person in the video spends more time rambling about unrelated topics than arguing his points. If not, then you're in for a treat. The title of this video is "The Doom Remake is Awful" and comes from Midnight. Now, you already know we're in for quite a ride, when you likely wouldn't even know which video I'm referring to from the title and thumbnail alone, if I hadn't shown you a second ago. Simply due to the fact that this guy made 2 more videos, all with an incredibly similar generic title and thumbnail. But then again, if he's not clickbaiting to the point you can't even tell what the video is about, would it really be Midnight? Alongside the unrelated tag abuse in the description. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and find out why classic Doom needs a remake.
Hello Spotsons, welcome back. I really have no idea how to begin this video. I've tried a few times already and it just doesn't feel natural in any way.
Yeah, that's completely normal. That's why I just swing it, because trust me, using the same music as Under the Mayo in his Trepang 2 review is definitely starting off on the wrong foot.
Whatever I say just doesn't click with me in the right way, so I'm gonna go straight to the point. 2 days ago, May 2nd to be precise, I tweeted something that went like this. If Capcom can remake the original Resident Evil titles and see great success, then id Software should remake the original Doom trilogy from the 90s as well. Give me that OG Doom with grounded storytelling and gameplay.
Oh, that thing. Yeah. Because Doom 2016 and Eternal definitely scream grounded storytelling and gameplay, am I right? Also, I swear, every time this guy brings up classic Doom, he always uses this same Unity port footage of the SSG room in Map 02. The exact same one, I'm not even joking. But we'll come back to this tweet a bit later. First, let's go ahead and watch the rest of this segment.
I am a big fan of Resident Evil as much as I am a fan of Doom, old and new. I love them all and I've played them all. So seeing the great success Capcom has seen with Resident Evil since RE7 released, I thought that id Software could take the same route and give us a reimagining of how the original Doom and its story would play out in these modern times of the 2020s.
Okay, let me dump everything right here, so bear with me. Them remaking Doom is an outright terrible idea for one simple reason, and that is the thing Doom is most known for, the modding scene. The game has over 25 years of dedicated maps and mods created for it, and 25 years of advanced game engines. And if you know anything about the official Unity port on Steam, you know exactly where the problem is. To not go on too much of a tangent and disregarding some of the minor stuff like the Red Cross being a lovely company and the nightmare changes, Unity port is the most limited port there is. Not only is it only limited up to comp level 4, if even that, but it is also not limit removing, which means some maps, even if designed for the right compatibility, completely crash the game in the start due to a little something called a Wisp plane overflow. And what that is not too important right now. You can Google it if you really want. However, the real kicker is that you can only play a selected few custom VODs that Bethesda and id Software cherry pick. So fucking DOSBox Doom from the 90s is less limited than the Unity port. Not to mention, it doesn't even work as a pure vanilla port either due to the before mentioned nightmare changes. So what does all of this have to do with the potential Doom remake? Simple. Even if they make it compatible with custom VODs, even if they add support for modern compatibility levels, there is so much that could and will go wrong, since one change to the core game will completely break most VODs in existence, no matter how seemingly insignificant the change is. There's a very good reason why Brutal Doom is notoriously unbalanced. A bit of an extreme example, sure, but I'll elaborate more when need be in the interest of not making this segment too long. But hopefully my point came across. Oh yeah, and just a quick spoiler warning here. When you hear his actual reasoning, you'll come to understand why none of this will be even remotely possible.
And well, Doom Twitter didn't like this post at all, and that's fine.
He says as he puts up a footage of an angry screaming banshee. I cannot believe this guy will genuinely make me defend fucking Twitter. Someone kill me, please.
Not everyone has to agree with me. My words are not absolutes, and they have never been. I am not God or anything. I was expecting some friendly debate down in the replies, which I did get, but some people like to take things to the absolute extreme, like they always do. Somebody even said that I should get ripped and killed, all because I shared this opinion.
Because that's totally something to be taken seriously. It's obviously an extremely edgy joke. Or at least that's what it's supposed to be. Is it crossing the line? I'll let you decide because I'm really in no rush to defend a Twitter user.
Yeah, great argument, buddy. A huevo, güey, te la rifaste. Debes de ser todo un macho.
I'm sorry! I don't speak Japanese.
I wasn't going to make a video about this in the first place, but then I began to see a pattern in most of the replies and quotes the post got. Most people, and I am talking about 80% of the people that replied to the post, answered with a straight no, and didn't elaborate any further, while making it seem that I'm simply the worst for even suggesting this.
Well, that's a bit overdramatic. I'm looking at these tweets right now and I don't see how any of them are suggesting you're the worst in the slightest. In fact, I'm willing to bet most people replying to you just thought it's incredibly obvious why a remake is a terrible idea. At least I did. But sure, disregard the other, quote, 20% who, according to you, brought valid counterpoints. But then again, considering you conveniently left out Final Doom in your tweet, I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't even play the original Doom. Outside of mods like H-Doom, which I'm not even gonna get into that shit.
I am all for a good conversation, but when your only answer is something like this, I just cannot take you seriously, my friend.
Bruh, now this guy is pulling a Mojang with the "because one person did this, we can no longer have a civil conversation."
So, in today's video we're going to talk about the hypothetical scenario of the existence of a 1993 Doom remake. If you want id Software to reimagine the original Doom story, slap the like button, and if you are against it, let me know why down below in the comments. This is gonna be a fun little experiment, so be sure to leave your 2 cents down below. Without further ado, let's begin. It's Friday. Yes, it's finally Friday. And you know what that means? It means that GamerSubs has released a brand new shaker.
Yeah, fuck that, I'm skipping past this.
In this video, I'm going to compare Doom with Resident Evil. Even though they are very different franchises in their own right, they share a lot of similarities in their development cycle, community, and overall release structure.
Bro, what the fuck kind of argument is that? So I guess by that logic, Doom Eternal is literally Animal Crossing because of their shared initial release date. These two games are completely fucking different with absolutely nothing in common, apart from both of them having guns and monsters. But yeah, he basically uses this as an excuse to go on a tangent about Resident Evil for 3 minutes and 48 seconds. And no, I am not joking. It's only at 6 minutes and 48 seconds out of this 12-minute video when he finally gets to the point. So let's go ahead and finally hear it.
And the exact same thing is happening with Doom and its hypothetical remake. It just took me by surprise just how many people are against the idea of id Software going back to the original games and reimagine them. And even more surprised when a lot of people outright didn't even elaborate as to why they are against it.
Again, because it's the same reason why the original Doom is so beloved to begin with. The mods. A hypothetical remake would completely shut that door right then and there. Hell, even purely visual changes can completely ruin the feel of most WODs, because the change in textures can completely break what the map maker is going for, and then when it comes to custom assets, unless every last asset is custom, many things will look extremely out of place, which is why most people will either be prompted to use the original WOD files, or just play the game with the already existing source ports. I mean shit, the Unity port is literally getting the same treatment as we speak. And then it all boils down to this: if they don't touch the gameplay and don't touch any assets, what are you even paying for? The game itself is open source, so the only thing you are paying for in the start are the assets. You can literally replace all assets and freely distribute the game completely within the boundaries of the law. I mean shit, that's literally what free Doom is. So then, what would be incentive to buy it when you can get the older games and just use one of the many free source ports? And if they completely change everything, why even call it a remake? This hypothetical remake is literally setting itself up for failure in the start. If they follow the same formula as the classic Doom games, they are making a glorified Z-Doom mod. If they change too much, then it's an entirely different game altogether, and if they don't change anything, then it's just a re-release.
Like I said, acting as if the original Doom games are untouchable gems that no one should even dare to try and remake. First of all, if 1993 Doom was to be remade, the original will still be there, and it will be there for the next 100 years at the very least.
That's hardly the point. The point is, where is the incentive to buy it? If they just re-release the old game with updated gameplay and storytelling like you want, it means all those beloved WODs like My House, Sunlust, Eternity, Ancient Aliens, Antidestined Reliquary, Magnolia, Speed of Doom, Toilet of the Gods, hell, even the thing I'm playing in the background, they would all be cut off, so why pay for an inferior product? It's a similar story as with the Red Dead Redemption 1 port. Unless the game is the exact same, it will have infinitely less content and less replayability, and at that point, once again, why even buy it? It's as simple as that.
Remake Doom will not replace 1993 Doom, and it will never do it. Now, let me elaborate as to why I think a Doom remake would be great. Doom 2016 took the franchise, gameplay-wise and lore-wise, into a new direction.
Yeah, and taking Doom 2 in that same direction simply wouldn't work, as I explained multiple times. I can already see someone downplaying this as, oh, you're just using the mods as a shield, but realistically, I don't know what to tell you. 25 years worth of mods, some of which turn it into a completely new and unrecognizable game, isn't a small feat. A remake is simply at the position where it will be a disappointment no matter what, and if the Unity port is anything to go by, it's that it certainly won't have the same level of modding even possible, let alone accessible. This is honestly on the same level as asking for a Minecraft remake.
The protagonist, that being the Doomslayer, is now a godlike being with godly powers, and Doom Eternal expands on that even more, letting us outright kill God. Yet, if you read the codex, you will note that the Doomslayer is the same guy from classic Doom.
Yeah, and that's truly a tragedy. If there's one complaint I keep hearing about Doom Eternal, is that they completely butchered the lore. Just to give one example, in 2016, the god's right hand orders you to outright kill his god, which only doesn't happen because the Slayer makes a backup. Without Eternal's lore, this would be a simple case of a scientist destroying an AI to save humanity. But considering Samur literally tries to kill the Slayer for merely preventing the father to take on a physical form, not threatening him in the slightest mind you, then his order in 2016 is completely out of character. So with that in mind, that complaint is not really false.
From OG Doom to Doom 64. But, and here lies my main problem, is that the original Doom trilogy is primarily gameplay and secondarily heavy tunes. And here lies my main problem, is that the original Doom trilogy is primarily gameplay and secondarily heavy tunes.
This guy did not actually say this. Well guys, I guess Doom has too much gameplay. He's literally turning into a game journalist as we speak.
Story is not even a second thought, with it being reduced to a manual introduction. And I get it, those games were made between 1993 and 1997. Story in games wasn't as important back then, but ever since Half-Life released in 1998, everything changed for storytelling in first-person shooters. Like it or not, my friends, Doom now has a story, which you can entirely skip if you just want to rip and tear.
I think we discovered what this guy's main reason for wanting a remake is. All the custom WODs don't have enough story for him. I mean, I'm saying it as a joke, but it's not uncommon for a joke like this to become a reality.
Thing is that there is a clear disconnection between classic Doom and the new Doom in terms of narrative. We just do not know, in a clear, cohesive manner, just exactly what happened in the original UAC Mars Demonic Invasion, and I would love to see id Software do a reimagining as to how it would look like on the glorious id Tech 7. And I think it's interesting, because in this point in time, Doom Guy was not a god, but a simple mortal, a soldier that fights for the weak. And I think that fact alone would translate great on its gameplay style. What I meant by grounded storytelling and gameplay is that I want a more human perspective as to how those events would play out.
At this rate, you're just asking for an entirely new game altogether. Because when people think about classic Doom, they don't think about the story, but rather the gameplay, and mods of course. So once again, calling that a remake would be a recipe for disaster. But also considering how the maps barely make sense in the context of their locations and progression, so at that point they would need to be remade from scratch, and at that point, why call it a remake at all if it's almost nothing like the original, apart from some similar locations? At this point, you just don't know what you're even asking for.
And how a human soldier with top class training would fight it out. And to those that say that Doom wouldn't be Doom without its power fantasy, I think you're saying this incorrectly.
What?
Even if Doom Guy is not a god, and the gameplay will not be as flashy like Eternal, ripping demons in half with one punch and whatnot, we have seen plenty of horror games recently pull out their very own power fantasy in more grounded settings. The Dead Space remake and the RE4 remake are great examples of that.
Yeah, except for one small detail. That being that Doom isn't a horror game. Sure, it had a few levels that tried to be spooky, but they were ultimately just gimmicks. In fact, Doom 3 tried exactly what you're asking for and it failed miserably, so what's your point?
Both Isaac and Leon are both humans put in impossible situations against monsters that do resemble demons from hell, but thanks to their training they are able to overcome those challenges by a thread, and it feels great and empowering doing it, because those games are action horror, and a good action horror game can be as thrilling as Doom Eternal and as creepy as the Resident Evil classics.
Bro, at this point just say you want a new Resident Evil game.
If a Doom remake was to ever come out, I believe it would be an action horror game that takes the best things from Doom 3 and Eternal and merges them together to create something new.
Do I even have to say why this is completely stupid? I mean, apparently I do, otherwise this guy will try to weasel out of taking criticism. But then again, my throat hurts and he's probably gonna do it regardless, so the comments can fill him in on that one.
I say all of this from the perspective of having the definitive Doom canon.
Bro, fuck your definitive Doom canon, since the definitive Doom canon is flawed as fuck.
Where we know exactly what happened in each given game, because as it stands now, more than half of its story is missing. And I do not hate that, I just think it would be a cool, neat little idea to have something like that, given that I am a sucker for story in video games.
And I am as well. Yet even I can understand when gameplay should take priority. That being all the fucking time.
Which for some reason it's considered taboo on the Doom franchise.
I'm just curious, how many more times will we have to look at this screeching retard? I mean, he's obviously using it as some pathetic attempt to silence criticism, and it is really, well, just that, fucking pathetic.
To the people that still think John Carmack's quote is a way to shut down this conversation, this quote worked in the 90s and in the early 2000s. But now? There's no way Doom would have gotten to where it is now if it only offered high-octane gameplay.
You serious?
Oh no, who's gonna tell him? Alright, well, it might as well be me. The gameplay was always its main selling point. The story is just a cherry on top. Or in the case of Eternal, a rotten apple in the bunch, but to each their own.
Good gameplay is just as important as having compelling characters and a good narrative.
Okay, no. Gameplay is always more important.
And I will die on that hill, if I have to.
Well, suit yourself.
Of course, I'm not saying that Doom should become a walking simulator like The Last of Us 2 or God of War. I think the new Doom games offer the perfect amount of exposition without taking focus from the action. So if a Doom remake was to come out, I think it should follow the same formula as Eternal and 2016.
Wait, what happened to it being a mix of Eternal and Doom 3? Guess not even he would buy that shit.
Where story matters, but the main attraction of the game is still the gameplay. But anyways, that's my super hot take on the hypothetical Doom remake. Please let me know what you think about it down below in the comment section. I'm very interested to know what you all have to say. Anyhow, use code MIDNIGHT on GamerSubs, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Adios, bye.
And with that, we're finally done with this dogshit video. So I guess the moral of the story here is Doom bad because it's not Dead Space. When I first downloaded this video to respond to it, I had no idea it took this much of a nosedive, but then again, that seems to be a repeating pattern with some of the most recent videos. Well then, at least it's entertaining. Thank you to the one singular channel member who embraced the chat Doom guy and earned the shoutout. The rest of you, be sure to like and subscribe to boost me in the algorithm. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.